Hello. Yeah, loud and clear.
Right. Okay, now it's time, 2:30, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, I just adjust a little bit. Okay. Right, ladies and gentlemen, the Facebook audiences, welcome to today's very interesting and important talks. And we have invited different background of speakers to join us today. And what is the topic for today? That is collecting and investing Straits Chinese Antique. It's a little bit of a friendly reminder tomorrow there's one important auction going on, yeah? So today also is the time for you to ask some questions before you prepare yourself to bid for this auction, right? And we have very important speakers as well as the panelists today. They are joining us. And you know, collecting and investing Straits Chinese Antique is always the hot topic, right? So whenever we have any talks about Straits Chinese, we always will gather and more focus on collecting and investing Straits Chinese Antique. What do you mean by collecting and investing? And some people, they may have different point of view. Some people are still confused. Some people are new to this world of Straits Chinese heritage. So we are taking today a very important platform to share with fellow audiences, interested party, collectors, investors as well. So it's still not too late. We have 1.5 hours to go. So anyone who are still just coming, you are still fine. We are about to start the talk show, right? So today we have 3 panelists, right? So before I start about the focus on the topic and the questions, I would like to introduce the panelists for today. The first panelist that I'm going to introduce is a specialist collector and also curator and a famous name and also face. You see his face, you see Straits Chinese, right? He's none other than Glenn Chi. A big round of applause to Glenn Chi. Yes, Glenn Chi, a little bit of his background. He has collected and researched Straits Chinese Peranakan porcelain since 1998. So a very long history, and his passion has led him to many porcelain hunting trips in Malaysia, Indonesia, and Singapore, and constantly adding beautiful pieces into his private collection, the GC Heritage Collection. I hope soon he'll make it a big mention for the collectors and all the interested parties to visit his mansion soon. Yeah. So if I may suggest, I'll call it GC Heritage Mansion soon to come. And his collecting journey has given them rich encounters with the Straits Chinese culture and history, including forging lifelong friends all over the region. So it's not just about durian. Glenn is not just about durian, but also Straits Chinese. Yeah. So Glenn is a legal and compliance professional, so better talk correctly in front of him. With extensive experience in the Asia-Pacific region, and his wife Candy G supports the investing of our heritage for future generations. Glenn has shared his knowledge all the time. He's also my very good friend and also my supporter throughout all the Straits Chinese auction event. And he is so very passionate through curating various auctions, conducting Straits Chinese porcelain workshops. And he is the author of several articles about Straits Chinese Peranakan antique porcelain. He founded and co-administered a Facebook group, Straits Chinese Porcelain Nyonya Wares, which explores and allows discussion on such porcelains, and Glenn is the contributor and author of Straits Heritage Collection book, published by Penang Antique Collectors Association. Another round of applause for Glenn. Thank you for giving us the privilege to be with us today. Because it's supposed to be few pages, but I've cut into half page. Right, next we have our very important panelist today who has strong Peranakan background. That is none other than Baba Norman Chaw. Big hand to Baba Norman. welcome. It is my privilege to have you joining us for this important talk. Yeah? Baba Norman is a renowned Singaporean collector and researcher of antique Straits Chinese porcelain, Peranakan jewelry, and Peranakan silverware, spanning over 30 years dedication and experience in such matters. Baba Norman Chaw, whose paternal and maternal Peranakan roots hail from Malacca, and is also the author of a recently published book called The Visual Life of the Peranakan. Very interesting. We will invite Baba Chaw later to share more about this. And he runs a Facebook group called Peranakan Material Culture, which explores Peranakan artifacts and history and all cultural aspects. Once again, welcome Baba Norman to this talk. A big hand once again. And next, wow, you can call him a newbie, but I now disqualify him as a newbie because he's already matured and become senior. He has certain responsibility to the community of Straits Chinese. He's none other than Mr. Chi Guan Lim. Big hand welcoming him. Yep. Well, I suppose I introduced him as avid Straits Chinese, but our Mr. Glenn Chi corrected me a little bit, but I also agreed that he should be called addicted, So CK is an addicted and avid Straits Chinese Peranakan porcelain collector, and his journey started 4 years ago, and he has relentlessly pursued his relatively new hobby for starting from spoon. Yeah, he has a lot of spoons. Okay, so if you see if anyone who feedback about the voice and volume, let us know, so we'll do a bit of fine tune and here and there. Okay, so yeah, so spoon, right, is supposed to be the king for Chi Guan, but he has done much more than that, and he will share his babies later on. Okay, and white-based Nyonya Ware to graduating to the prize Kamcheng and Chupus. His collecting journey is milestone by auction bidding and attendance, and in a short period of time created a network of Malaysian collectors from the northern states for sharing information and acquisition of wares. In addition, he is also a co-contributor of Straits Heritage Collection books published by Penang Antique Collectors Association. And CK is the co-administrator of the Facebook group Straits Chinese Porcelain Nyonya Wares. And CK Chi Guan is also an entrepreneur. He is the CEO and managing director of HS Power Berhad. That's why you see here, you see this. Glenn always said power, because he learned from Chi Guan that his battery is very powerful. And Chi Guan is a second generation family business, and he has exclusive distribution rights in northern Malaysia for various premium battery brands such as Bata and Bosch. CK is a keen angler, food connoisseur, and art enthusiast. A big welcome to all of you to today's talk. Thank you, and thank you for accepting the invitation from us to be the panelists for collecting and investing Straits Chinese Antique. How are you guys? Yes, how's everything? Yep. Is the time now miserable for you, or in fact looking more often to your babies such as a heritage item will keep you energetic? We have Singapore and Malaysia, right? It is just a small distance, but during this period, it's even remarkable to have the both sides to come into this talk show. So it is very important for us to share more as much as possible, and we also take questions, and I hope that the panelists can share on the answer as much as possible. Okay, so my admin has feedback that they can hear my sound, but not so much on your sound. So later when you answer the question, please try to be a bit speak louder. Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's start our first question, right? The first question always we will invite our Mr. Glenn G for the answer first. This is always, well, what is porcelain, right? What is Peranakan porcelain and Nyonya ware, right? So when you give a bit of answer and some idea, and please also share with us what are the misconceptions about them, because I have heard enough, right, about all kind of opinion towards Peranakan, towards Straits Chinese, and Nyonya, especially in my industry. So I sincerely hope that all the panelists here can share as much as insight about the misconception and also share the clearance as much as possible. Back to you, Glenn. Glenn, sorry, can you pause a little bit because the Facebook audience, they complain no sound from your side. Let me see. Speaking. Give me a second. 刚才我换那个麦去了，麦换去这个 laptop 的麦，不知道他们有听到吗？来看有没有声音，看来我的声音有，他们声音没有是吧？Glenn, can you say a few words, and the rest, can you say a few words?
Master Lim, you're looking smart today.
Oh yeah, I make up a bit.
Big tauke.
My tauke is the one with the big portrait behind.
There's Lord Cho. Lord Cho.
I recommend you the painter.
Okay,
Lord
Can do
Cho.
one.
but wait till I slim down first.
No, they can paint you very slim one.
Yeah, they can paint you very slim. I'm sure. I'm sure.
Okay, it works now. It works now.
Okay. Okay, good. It works there. Sorry for the technical fault. Probably some of the people missed the opening.
Rewind.
Okay, can you hear from me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, sorry, I may need you to repeat. Glenn, just now my first question is about porcelain, nyonya ware, Straits Chinese. There are too many terms, right? And there are also some misconception that may develop unhealthy environment for collecting and investing in Straits Chinese heritage. So we badly need the panelists' comment and insight to help us to fine-tune about this. Can Glenn, over to you and share your insight, please?
Sure. Thanks. Well, let's talk about Nyonya ware, the terminology and definition of Nyonya ware first. Nyonya ware is a new term. 100 years ago, Nyonya ware, this terminology did not exist. Okay, it was invented only very recently, probably about 30 years, 40 years ago, probably maybe 40 years ago, for ease of collectors. We need a name, a nice, sexy name to classify what we are collecting. So this word Nyonya ware came about, probably invented by dealers, I guess. Okay, so it's easy for us to understand and easy for us to move forward. But what is exactly Nyonya ware? So among collectors, people like Master Cho, Chi Kwan, and the other advanced collectors, okay, there are always two schools of thoughts: the narrow thought and the broad thought. The narrow thought, the old school of thought will classify Nyonya ware strictly as what? Porcelain made in China, but specifically made for the Straits Chinese Peranakan communities. The taste, the preference. Therefore, these type of porcelain are not exported to other parts of Southeast Asia, like Thailand, and mass quantities for their Thai community. They are not exported to Indonesia for the local Indonesian community, but they were specifically exported to the Strait settlements. Okay, for the Peranakan communities, because of their taste is for them. So therefore, these are very specific type of porcelain that you will find a market that is made for them. But then again, there's another class within Nyonya wares. Okay, they're called commission wares. Commission wares are also called Nyonya wares, but a subcategory probably, are specifically made also for the Straits Chinese taste. But not only that, it goes one step further. They are tailor-made to a specific Straits Chinese Peranakan family. So, for example, you're going to the tailor, right? You want to make a shirt, you customize. So, these specific Peranakan families customize their porcelain. And how do we identify this kind of porcelain? They have they're probably a family mark or a preferred family motif, or preferred family series that identifies this kind of series or motif to that particular family. Some will go even further to put their business chop mark or their family surname mark. Okay? So these are the very specific school of thought for Nyonya wares. Of course, there's a broader aspect to it. Of course, there are endless argument. So the next thing is Straits Chinese porcelain. And what's that? Is Straits Chinese porcelain equals to Nyonya ware? Let's look at the definition of Straits Chinese first. Okay, some books will tell you Straits Chinese is any Chinese born locally, they're all under the Majesty's Chinese. The Majesty's Chinese. That could mean pure Chinese stock, or actually Peranakan Chinese. So it's not wrong to say that pure Chinese born in the Straits settlements, they are called Straits Chinese, but they're not Peranakan. So there's a confusion. No? There is a confusion. So influential pure Chinese but born in the Straits, classified as Her Majesty's Chinese, Straits Chinese, buys porcelain, collects porcelain, commissions porcelain. The question is his porcelain considered as Nyonya ware? Also a question mark. Okay. Can you hear me?
Is Peranakan equals to Straits Chinese, by the way?
As I said, it depends on the definition of Straits Chinese. If you define Straits Chinese narrowly, okay, meaning Straits Chinese Peranakan, then it will include Peranakan. If it's Straits Chinese generic, even a Chinese is Straits Chinese, born in Straits.
All right.
So I think it's important to say Straits Chinese Peranakan.
Okay, so we have
or Straits Chinese Jawi.
We have one
Straits
Peranakan
Chinese.
here. Yep. We have one Peranakan here. Let's listen to him also. Baba Norman, what is your point of view?
Okay, I think Straits Chinese, the term is actually moves through time. Back then, during the Straits settlement, they call it Straits Chinese because the very early settlers who came here, they married the local Nyonyas, they gave birth to children who are born here, they become Straits Chinese. However, when we move along, the term Straits Chinese is no longer very relevant because as we go along, the Straits settlement no longer around. It's history already, So nowadays, people tend to associate themselves by calling themselves Peranakan. And I think a clearer term would be Baba and Nyonya. That will be very clear that, they are Peranakan. Yeah. And Peranakan is also a very interesting term because there are different kind of Peranakan. There are the Jawi Peranakan, they have the Chinese Peranakan, then even the Eurasians, they consider themselves as Peranakan. So for ourselves, the Chinese, we normally term ourselves Chinese Peranakan or Peranakan Cina.
Okay.
Hope that answers
Exactly.
the question. Yeah.
Right.
One point to add also, over the years, dealers, collectors, it frustrates me and I find it very irritating when people come and tell me to bring a plate and say, I found this is the Peranakan home. I found this is the Straits Chinese or Peranakan Chinese home. This is Nyonya ware. Okay, this is no. Anything found in their home is not automatically by default a piece of Nyonya ware. Okay, that piece could have been bought in an emporium, okay, made in China, not specifically for a taste, kept there for 50 years. It does not automatically changes its status to Nyonya ware. Okay, does not.
Actually, Nyonya household, they bought a lot of things from all
Exactly.
over.
Everywhere.
True.
They even buy British wares,
True.
Delft wares from Europe, everything. But that does not mean that over time it becomes a Nyonya ware.
Yeah, we can also see the Victoria eras, the Ipens, right?
Yes.
It also existed in the Peranakan home, but I may not recall Peranakan ware, right? For this
Yes.
actually British
I mean,
ware.
Mr. Soon, that is a very obvious one. The not so obvious one is Chinese wares. Okay? Peranakan Chinese also buy Chinese ware. The Chinese friends give them as gifts. Very, very normal, right? And they also buy Chinese ware as for display, aesthetic purpose or whatever. So a piece of Chinese ware left in their home after 100 years will not become Nyonya ware also. Okay? Just to make it very clear. Because they buy something that's very Chinese, a Chinese kamjeng, and people say, oh, now I found a Peranakan home. So therefore, it's a Nyonya kamjeng. Doesn't work that way.
So Chi Kwan, has the explanations from two panelists confused you? I of course I call you matured collector, but initially I think
of course now I'm not confused, but when I started
from the
to
beginning
collect, I
stage, you
was
also may felt some issues, right, about identifying the Peranakan, Straits Chinese, or Chinese ware. So even like people said Banjaran ware and all that. So what's your problem from the misconception at your initial stage, and then how you actually make a clear mind later on?
Yeah, when I started to collect, I was very confused with Chinese export wares and Nyonya wares, And then slowly I learned about it, and then that time my view on Nyonya is still very limited, where all Nyonya wares must have phoenix, peonies, and Buddhist emblems. So
Okay.
when you have, that's my view that time, Then later on, we only exposed to like this commission wares, ware with chilling, okay. So I would say that not all Nyonya wares are just limited to phoenix, peonies, and Buddhist emblems.
Okay.
Totally agree with you.
But
Okay.
one of the important elements I would say is that usually peonies does exist in Nyonya wares,
Right. So I
where
hope
peonies are very common.
our audience at least make their mind clearer now, right? How to differentiate between the Nyonya ware and Straits Chinese ware, and as well as Chinese ware. So yeah. So I hope from today's explanation also will reduce the misconception. Now, next question I have for Glenn. Well, you may have the collection, but do you have any Nyonya wares that depict dragons, or does Nyonya ware depict dragon?
I have a few pieces that depict a dragon, and over the years, I've shown it to various people. Okay, some look at it as shocked, and the next word coming out of my mouth, fake. Okay, never mind. It's okay, fine, good. Okay. I will tell them if it's okay. If you deem this as a fake, kindly, please source another 10 pieces for, because fake should be readily available. Why can't you find another 10 more pieces for me, and I buy exactly the same original prices that I paid for them? Please go ahead. If you are unable to produce 10 more pieces of these fakes or reproduction or whatever you want to call it, that means you're unable to substantiate, okay, your statement. Simple as that. I go by facts. Okay, that's one. Second, Christie's, okay, in your auction many years ago, okay, there's many dragon wares. 3, look at Ho Wei Ming's book. He depicts very clearly and states very clearly, okay, dragon wares exist among Nyonya ware, but extremely rare. So that's my answer. 4th, Peranakan Museum. Okay, Singapore Peranakan Museum. There's a teapot there. Okay, there's a kamcheng there with blue color. Teapot also blue color with white panels depicting dragons. So who says no dragons? There are, but just rare. And they are only probably, I assume, this one, because need to do further research, specific families, okay, and specific status. Yeah.
So any other point of view from the 2 other panelists about dragon? Or you see dragon, it must be China ware?
For me, I think that it could also be something which novelty which the makers, the manufacturers would like to introduce to the market. So they could have produced, something different to test the Nyonya market, whether are they accepting it, will they buy something besides Phoenix, and to create probably a new kind of motif, because whenever
New market.
whenever it's marketing, whenever you want to sell something, if everybody has seen Phoenix, they also very sian already, very jelak, so they may want something different. So they could have tested to produce some, dragon wares. So that is my take.
And Norman, would this coincide? Okay, I think we previously done some in-depth discussion on this area. Could have coincide during the transitional period where Western porcelain started to come to the Peranakan homes, and the Chinese market is beginning to feel the pinch that they're losing out market share to the Western style porcelain. As such, Clint's in China has begun to explore different forms of Nyonya ware, even by the mix and match of base color variation, where sometimes you see a chupu which the lid and the body don't match equally, but it's actually a matching pair.
Yes,
We've
yes,
seen that in Christmas.
I do.
You have them also, I know.
Yes.
I've seen that in your collection. Could it be one of those theories that analysis that we came up
Yeah,
with?
I would think that, over the years, when they produce so many of the same thing, it will be very refreshing for them to do something different. Be it, in terms of design or in terms of form. That is where you have all the English coffee pot coming out, the English teacups coming out, they have a sugar bowl. All these are the later period where, there is a demand and there's a change in taste, where Peranakan become more westernized. So they cater for this group of Peranakans.
Okay, now we talk about dragon motif. Now, what about the scrolling lotus design and cricket design pieces? Are they Peranakan or are they straight Chinese? Because I've seen many white wares that they are depicted with crickets, the lotus scrolls. Of course, there are some other color, base color as well. Now, but we have seen some of the white base that has been commissioned, like the Quechuan ware. There are many crickets, where white base that commissioned by the early Chinese leader, back to the late 19th century. So, how to classify them, or are they worth collecting? Glenn.
Me again.
Yeah.
I shall direct this question to the newbie, the so-called newbie, Master Lim. You
Okay.
try this one.
Okay, these are the early designs adopted for use in Peranakan homes. However, upon closer inspection, the one used by the Peranakans tend to be the final version of the scrolling lotus design, and with the final cricket design. I have a sample over here. You can look at the artwork of the cricket. Usually it's from the Tongzi period. And which are
The
very,
porcelain is finer, so the quality of the porcelain.
it's very different from the Chinese
It's
export ware
still
cricket.
thirsty for me to see just the cover. Can we see the
Okay,
whole
okay,
piece?
okay.
Yes.
I got this from M&B Penang auction.
I bidded for you on your behalf.
Yeah.
I represented you because you were not able to attend the auction, I remember.
So how to
And then they have-
call this? How to classify this item?
But to me, it's your because it comes with the panel, insects, different variables. You have the magpie over here. Can you see it?
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah, birds and panels and crickets as well. Yes, and peony as well.
Even the cricket you can find the cricket on the body of the kamchen as well.
Yeah.
So when you look at the piece of the cricket ware from your ware, the porcelains are all the artwork are more finer. So maybe Master Glenn would like to further explain about this.
What Master Lim has shared with us is absolutely true. Just a couple of points that I want to contribute would be Straits Chinese Peranakan in the early 1800s. That's before the existence, of the phoenix, the Buddhisms and the peony combination. Before this existed in the early 1800s. Peranakan Chinese already existed. They are here already. So the question I ask you, what porcelain do they use? They've got to use some porcelain, right? So before, So now, Straits Chinese, Peranakan Chinese, Peranakan Chinese did not appear during the 1800s, just suddenly, boom, they just appear. No, they're really there. So they got to use some porcelain, right? Their taste, they are really quite wealthy by then. I mean, some early pioneers of the Straits settlements. So what did they use? They used Chinese wares, or okay, even the 1800s they were using Chinese ware. They adopted Chinese ware as their own ware. Okay, they look identical to Chinese wares, which is lotus scroll, etc., 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 cricket and all that, right? As it evolved, okay, they say, hey, maybe I want to change a little bit. Okay, so there we start seeing the very, very, very early pieces of kamcheng with a phoenix panel, but with lotus screw outside. Very rare, but they exist. Okay, this is where you can see the evolution of motif. They are adopting the Chinese motifs, okay, but arranging it in a way to the Straits Chinese Peranakan taste. Gaudy, less white, from white evolved to more pink, more flowers, more gaudy, more enameling. So that's evolution. Okay, and those like borderline semi-Chinese Peranakans, those white, neither here nor there. This I can see is a transition. It's a slow transition, and these early 1800 pieces tend to be more white based. Okay, and which is include the Quechuan wares. Quechuan wares, the cricket wares. These are all made pre-Phoenix days. If you look at the history of Quechuan, he lived in the early 1800s, and I think he passed away in the mid 1800s, even before all this existed. So he was he commissioned, okay, the style, the motif came from Chinese wares. But the difference, of course, for Quechuan is Straits Chinese Peranakan cricket wares tend to be ribbed. They have these rims, they have ribs on the bowl, they have rib on the plate, fluted, scallop rims. Whereas the Chinese version is no rib cap. And if you take the porcelain within this and this, you can feel the difference. The fluted porcelain, the ribbed porcelain are normally thinner, and you put a shines through better through a torchlight translucent. You can see that it's really, really very clear. Whereas the Chinese pieces tend to be thicker, the light going through it is being filtered, more opaque. That is how you can tell the quality of the porcelain is very different. The amount of gold gilding is also different. As Master Lim has indicated, the definition of the crickets and the four-season flowers are more defined for the commission pieces. Okay, I don't deny that.
Thank you. Very, very clear explanation of the Straits Chinese Peranakan ware, and that is towards the Peranakan or the Nyonya taste, right? So, okay, now we have also, when we talk about the commission ware, right? Of course, you have this the Quechuan style of, but Quechuan's commission ware is actually like more common ware. If compared to those wares with surname, as you may know that there are those surname ware that you can see a different design and different coloring being used for the, like say, the Capitan family. Now, this question I think I would like to ask Baba Norman. You are coming from the Peranakan home. I believe that you have a history of how they came along, from the early days of the Straits Chinese coming to the Malaya, and how they develop, and those for the how they become the Chinese leader and turn out to be Capitan, and then they design their own specific ware. So, in your opinion, the butterfly surname wares made for Yap Alloy, Pan, etc., should it be classified as Peranakan Nyonya ware?
Okay, this is actually specially commissioned ware. So these are a different group of Peranakan ware. It's not sold in the market, as in you can buy them off the rack. For these cases, certain families actually commission them, and they especially wanted their surname to be on it. And this Yap Alloy, the wife, happened to be a Nyonya from Malacca. So I think they could have been inspired to do, you know that the Yap Alloy set is actually what they call in and out design, which means that it's painted inside and outside, you know. So being the rich and, you know, influential family, they want something different because it's too common, too plain to have just painted outside. So they want something extra. They pay more to get it commissioned to paint inside. So it becomes something unique and something grand, which, you know, when they have visitors, the visitors are entertained at their home, they are being awed by all this porcelain. So it's a kind of a social status as well. Yeah. So that is the
Some people call this kind of ware as the top class, even
yeah, the in and out
valuable
pieces
than
are actually more costly to produce because you need to paint inside, you need to paint outside, you have to pay premium to the manufacturer.
Yeah, we have
Samples.
straight away our friends show off already. Yeah.
Nice piece.
This is a very good example for our audience to have a look at the commission ware that is normally pink based, but a kind of pink base that a bit of toward the purple, right? But it is very rare.
The term is salmon pink.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Master Choman that butterfly wares are actually considered commission wares. This is a piece of 9-inch in-out bone with Zhao surname. So what I'm still doing research about the Zhao. I'm still trying to find the history behind this surname family. But of course, I'm still hoping to find one with the Yap surname.
Now,
I can share some history with you on the Chow. Apparently, you know, I had the good luck. Okay, I would say good luck to have a friend. Actually, we have a mutual friend. We actually seen the Yap Alloy family tree book. Okay, actual one, the actual family Yap family tree book, and through looking at the family tree book and the history, and we actually know a Yap descendant personally. He's the one who keeps this book. The Chow family and the Pan family, that all has this kind of butterfly wares, all married into the Yap family. Therefore, okay, of course, the Yap set is the first set. Okay, the first set, the pioneer set. Subsequently, other descendants married into a family and they had, the marriage and all that. More were being made for the specific sub-clans. Okay, so they were all linked, the Chow and Pan and Yap, they were all linked together through marriage. Okay, and of course, there's always a very huge argument to ask whether it does the Yap Alloy set, the butterfly Yap Alloy set, is it really Nyonya ware in the first place? Because Yap Alloy is a pure Chinese. It's not Peranakan. We all know that, right? Another good example would probably be Chia Hong Lim. Okay, he's not. There's no Peranakan blood. He's pure Chinese. But these people married into. They had spouse that were Nonyas. So how do we define Nyonya ware? Traditionally, Nyonya ware are made for the Nonya, okay, for their marriage. Okay, it's like a matrimonial gift to them. So therefore, the wares are usually put the Nonya's name, like Kujubi, something like that. Something. It's very unusual to put a man's name on the porcelain. Okay, because kitchenware belong to the woman. The matriarch for the
Can I say that the surname ware, right? That the pink ware, the surname ware.
Yes.
The
Because it's not made for
man-dominated.
the argument says it's not made for the woman. It's made for the man.
It's a
for Yap
man-dominated.
Alloy. It's not Nonya. It's not the
design.
Java. So it's Chinese ware.
Right. It may be the
Commissioned
Capitan,
for
right?
a local Chinese.
Yes, the Capitan of that time, they wanted to be the imperial style, so they make it the imperial wear style of the of the surname wear. That how they differentiate them towards the classic Nyonya wear. So we should be proud of them that as a man, right, we should collect more of this kind, which it is not
But
quite possible.
there's a connection. All these people married Nonya. So can we classify them as Nonya ware or pure Chinese ware? It's a very academic argument, okay? But what is important that we all must understand, this thematics of separating is not important. This is our history, our Straits settlement history, Malaya and Singapore history. Okay, so to define the semantics of meeting or young Awa is Chinese, not Nonya Ware, I think it's very artificial argument. That's my view. Okay, it's an artificial argument left for the super academics. You know, if you're going for PhD in porcelain or arts and all that, fine, we go to that realm. But for collectors, we are custodians of history, okay, of heritage. It's good to know, but end of the day, the definition doesn't really matter. I'm collecting a piece of my history, Singapore and Malaysia. That's my view. I don't know whether the others
is the coloring called Chong Chai? Is the coloring of this kind of ware called Chong Chai?
This is Chong Chai.
Yeah, what is Chong Chai? Actually, I heard a lot of Chong Chai, but what is Chong Chai? And how significant is Chong Chai towards the Peranakan ware?
Okay, I will direct this to Master Cho, because this spoon was originally from Master Cho. He, in his good grace, sold it to me, you know, after pestering for a couple of years probably. Yes, this spoon came from him. Okay, so I will let Master Cho explain.
Okay, Chong Chai, I think is not the term which the Peranakan call this. It could be actually coined by the dealers who are dealing with it. Okay, there are certain sort of theories to how the name came about. It could be that it's called insect and vegetation, Chong Chai. Okay, or it can also mean strong colors, zhong chai, you know, very heavy colors. So there are two interpretations, so it could be either one. So what I know is that this series is specially made in Malacca families. So it's the Malacca families who actually come up with this Chong Chai design. And again, I see that there are a lot of in and out pieces which are favored by the Malaccan side. So in Malacca, like the Yap Alloy set, you know, the butterfly set, they have the black bird set, the magpie set, plus this Chong Chai set. Most of them come from Malacca. So that is what I observed.
Okay, so we are now more clear about Chong Chai. You know, it become new knowledge for the collectors and the newbie. Now, before I come to the next question, I have a question from an audience. What type of Nyonya ware are highly sought after and collectible? Now, is the Peranakan jewelry part of Nyonya ware? Baba Norman?
Yeah, in fact, Peranakan jewelry is definitely part of Nyonya collectible. Okay, so the thing is that Peranakan, besides the commissioning porcelain, they also commissioning special pieces of jewelry according to their design. And most of these are actually local pieces. They draw inspiration from the local designs which, you know, the Malays were using, but they incorporate certain unique design, like, you know, having the phoenix, having the Buddha's finger citron, very Chinese design into the jewelry, and they call it their own. So maybe I can show you an example of how one of the brooches look like. Okay, this is a brooch. It is a Buddha's finger citron. Okay, it is made of intan, and you can see that the stones are fairly large. Yeah. So intans are actually rose-cut diamond. They are used by the Malay communities as well as the Peranakan Chinese.
Wow, interesting. So I'm sure you have more to show. Now, what about Ji Guan? Right? You are investing, you are collecting. Yes, of course, it is also investing. So, what do you think are the type of Nyonya ware that highly sought after and collectible? Never, don't worry. When your opinion, of course, it will become some of the a direction for people to bid for it, and it may become a more higher price to chase after. But it is still good for you to share, so that the market can go up for the Peranakan Straits Chinese ware. Over to you, Chi Kwan.
I consider myself very lucky. I gone through a lot of shortcuts, So usually I mix with all the seafoods, like Master Glenn, Master LM Bong. So by listening to them, then they will tell you, what the wares are actually highly collectible. One of them is actually the butterfly wares with I just shown to you, and then also the Chong Chai that you guys just mentioned, and also some sky blue wares. So I also remember I have a senior guru, it's a master Zheng. He told me, hey, CK, so when you start to collect, try to collect something we have 2 pieces and above, in an item like kamcheng, chupu, if possible go for tingkat. These are the items that are very rare and highly desirable. Without them, I think until today I'll be just collecting spoons.
Right, good tips for the collectors and investors. Right. So now here come the next questions. Currently we are, the whole world suffering from the pandemic, and then the market seems to be a bit slow, right? So but still auction going up, for this Nyonya ware and some of the antique auctions and all that. Now some people want to be careful, right? To be more careful during this period when they want to spend, right? Or they want to invest. Now during this period, do you think that Nyonya ware still consider a stable investment, especially during this COVID-19 situation? Glenn, you may want to say a few words on this.
Okay, I'm going to take a very simple analogy, true story. I met a client about 1 week ago. It's a lady, and she said that she invested in cryptocurrency, and she said that she had no clue what is it. Investment consultant approached her, asked her to dump 10,000 Sing dollars into it. And sure make money. That's what they always say. Of course, that's a favorite term. Sure make money. Okay. And she had no knowledge, and she took the gamble because first of all, anybody who actually consider to invest in anything needs to have spare cash. If you do not have spare cash, please do not invest in anything. Keep the cash for emergency days. Okay. Only if you have spare cash. So this lady had $10,000 spare cash. Invested $10,000 in cryptocurrency. Okay, when I met her, she told me she lost everything. Zero, worthless. Zero. She lost money. She said, "You lost money. You got con." Yeah. So, hypothetically, if she had bought $10,000 using the same money to buy a coral red kamcheng or yellow kamcheng, okay, 10 years ago, this kamcheng that she bought then will definitely not be zero. Okay? The $10,000 is still there. It will not go down. Whether how much it goes up, then the increment or the profit of the $10,000 will very much depend. First, market demand, which is always there because it's our heritage. Okay, locals will keep buying it. Okay? Museums keep promoting it. We keep promoting it. We control and bring it up. By promoting this hobby, right? It will always go up. But then economic circumstances like the Great Depression, Lehman Brothers, COVID, there is something beyond our control which will definitely depress the valuation of the $10,000 kamcheng. But it will still be $10,000, but on good days it becomes 15, and a bad day like COVID it becomes 11. The moral of the story, it will not be zero. Okay? I think Chi Kwan, when I first met you not long, 4 years ago, you were collecting wax spoons. And I told you, look, wax spoons are a good investment, right? You bought them at like $50, $60 during those days, I can't remember. Easily now it's $300 now, a piece.
Yeah.
Right? and you sold some and you made money. I have never lost money, okay, by collecting Nyonya ware. But I have lost thousands of dollars by collecting Chinese wares. Unfortunately, I learned the hard way. And 2-3 cabinets of sunken ship wares, dead wares, every type of wares. But when I wanted to convert it to cash, nobody wanted it. Or people wanted it, but they paid me karang buni price. Yeah, that is my lesson I've learned. Okay, expensive one. I had to dump 3 cabinets full of rubbish. And I prevented Lim from doing that. I said, please, man, Lim, don't collect rubbish. You'll be throwing 3 cabinets of rubbish like me. In fact, I donated some to you. Because nobody wanted them. All right? So that's the moral of the story. Investment first, you must have extra money. You not keep your money. Okay? Second, Nyonya ware, okay, is the value is always there because it is our heritage. Our heritage will not disappear overnight. Cryptocurrency will disappear because it's not backed by economic fundamentals, and many central banks are still a question mark about them until the day further notice. Okay? So if you're going to go, I mean, I'm not against cryptocurrency, they are the future, but not at this point in time. If you want to invest something, you make sure you know what's going on, you know the market. Okay, you just compare the risk, investment risk, of something you don't know about cryptocurrency, something you don't know about yellow kamjing, but it's original. I will take the original kamjing. It's a better bet.
So invest your spare cash, you know where to invest to.
Yeah, I fully agree now. So far, I think Nyonya ware is still a very stable investment now. Even during the pandemic, the demand is still there now. Try to
auctions are being held, non-stop.
Try to put your wares in M&P auction now. There are many collectors waiting for them.
Right, thank you.
Well, maybe during the pandemic, the common wares will not be so sellable, but the premium wares are still being stepped sharp.
Yes, I fully agree with this.
Now, what are your thoughts of vintage reproductions? About how you call it vintage? 1930, 40, or 1960 or 70s? So, sometimes you call it new or old. Some people call it fake or genuine. So, how to actually define whether it is vintage or antique? So, what's your thought of vintage reproduction in relation to value? Ji Guan?
Me, myself, will limit myself to collect just the original, authentic pieces. To my point of view, I don't think the value of vintage reproduction will fetch a good price even after the next 20 years.
About Norman, what's your view on the
okay, I would
vintage
think that
reproductions?
vintage and antiques, there is a difference. Although things may look more or less the same, but the antique pieces have the history behind it. That is the most important part. So people buy it for the history. It has been used by the actual Peranakan families, whereas the vintage pieces may have been bought as a novelty, where they use as decoration, things like that. So in years to come, the value compared to an antique piece will definitely command better returns. That's my take.
Now let me be very straightforward. We are all in the same group of Straits Chinese, right, in the Facebook. Now, sometime we also came across some of the group member. They posted something, right, from the very minor point of eye of view. It is boleh pakai punya, or we call it new. So how are you going to advise, this member? How do you want to? The best is that in the near future, every member, they post the right thing, right? You don't want them to invest in something that is, we call it nicely, you call it vintage lah, right? But to many of us, we call it new lah, right? Now, but you guys know, some of you are the administrator of that group, right? If you have a chance, how do you want to advise them, right? To guide them to the right track, to buying something correctly.
I think first of all,
Well,
they would need to
Baba Chong go first.
train their eyes,
Okay.
which is very important.
Or you PM them, tell them, hey, sorry, bro, this is something not right, right? How to guide them? Or sometimes when you guide them, they may not welcome you, So,
Mr. Soon, I only can say one thing. When collectors approach me, and they show me a photograph, I will just say, can you handle the truth? Because most people cannot handle the truth. That's why I reserve my comment. I don't want to say anything. I don't know you.
People, better watch out, don't
No, because
give them hard pressure.
Yeah, people can you imagine? I understand how I spend $20,000 buy a big nice kamching. I bring it to this guy who I do not know who this fella. He tell me it's a reproduction. How is he going to feel? That is what the question is. Can he handle the truth?
Right.
Right? If he states very clearly, look, tell me the truth or whatever, I will tell you the truth. If he just goes, I try not to appraise or give him an answer on Facebook or privately text him. Okay, give him some face. It's really quite embarrassing. Or if he's a good buddy, I just tell him, say, look, this is a reproduction.
Yeah, sometimes it's not easy to handle.
It's not easy.
Yeah, but to if you don't do something, then the market and for the situation will continue to be unhealthy, right? In this development. Now, if they have the spare cash, right? Obviously they have the spare cash, but they probably invested in the wrong thing, right? So if they invest to the right asset, right, the right item, it is definitely good for them. So I'm sure, Chi Kwan, you are the co-minister of the group, but sometimes you are the newbie lah. You dare not like committed like our Glenn, Baba Norman. So how are you going to react to this? Because you also you came along the way, right? You came along the way.
Yes,
So
true,
how are you
true.
going to treat them?
You see, I often notice there are arguments and debates when there are final pieces of colorwares from late Qing or Mingguo area. And then, worst of all, some of them call an item fixed by just merely looking at the photo or from gut feeling. I just share a story. I have a friend, he bought a kamching, like what been explained by Master Glenn. And then he showed to some of the friends around. And then suddenly someone told him, hey, the kamching you bought is fake, Then immediately from the face expression, you can feel his sadness, He cannot accept, But for me, I think the kamching is alright, Then I asked the guy, why, can you explain to me why do you think this kamching is fake, or repro, He said, from my gut feeling, because the kamching is heavy, Then I told him, okay, then we put colorware aside, talk about white wares, White wares during Guangzhou period are usually thinner, crispier, and lighter. When it comes to Mingguo area, the white wares usually are heavier. Then of course, there are exceptions. Some Mingguo wares are very, very fine. So I just explained to you can't tell an item fake just merely from your gut feeling or because you haven't seen it or because it's heavy. So I told the guy that buy the kamching, don't feel sad. If you don't believe me, you can seek for more advice from some senior collectors.
All right. Okay, we have the question from the follower. Question from Daisy Chua. Are red colored Nyonya wares more valuable than other colors? We got red, right? Red or pink? The question is, are red colored Nyonya wares more valuable than others or other colors? So, Baba Norman, you have some point for this?
Okay, there are other rarer colors other than, coral red or pink, which are even rarer. For example, indigo blue or powder blue, they are even more rare than the pinks. But if you're comparing with the greens, of course, pink color would be classified rarer than green because green is among the most common color which you can find in Nyonya wear amongst the colored wares.
What about Glenn? About color red?
If she's referring to coral red wares, okay, I would say the coral red wares are rare, yes. There are not many of them. And the very, very unique thing about coral red wares, they are seldom found, okay, almost never found in the Tok Panjang set. That means you do not find a standard dinner wear set laid on the table in coral red. Even if there is, I haven't seen one. Maybe there's one lurking around somewhere in some special home. It could be a qualifier, but I have not seen it. Coral red wares usually are found in the following: kamcheng, chupu, joystick holder, cylinder, offering dish, rare but as gifts, okay, and cups, and that's it. Very, very limited scope, coral red. And coral red kamchengs also have various shades, right? Apricot red, dark red, maroon red, and so forth. And I'll say yes, coral red, specifically for kamchengs and chupus, are very rare. Okay, of course, as what Norman said, there are a class above that. That would be the indigo blue, which I recently acquired a huge one. Just to share the members. Okay, there's a link. A giant, I think, 11-inch piece, indigo blue. As you will say that this is like almost the holy grail of kamcheng. The only thing probably as rare as a indigo midnight blue kamcheng will be the Chongchai kamcheng. Okay?
Okay. So, all right, I may just extend the question a little bit. Like, maybe the question is asking about maybe pink. Pink color. Pink color more valuable than maybe like the green, yellow, blue, and other colors. Or do you think that all can be collected?
All can be collected. Everyone can be collected. If it's a color kamcheng, buy it. That's, if you extra cash, buy it. I mean, within reason, within reason. Right. Of course, my advice is investment, buy within logic, buy within reason. And next question, people say, how much is reason? What kind of yardstick do I use to grade a kamcheng? Very simple. Do your homework. Go dig up all the Christie's catalog in the library. Go dig up all the MMP catalogs. And you make a comparison on the hammer sale, and you come to a gauge. It's very simple. If you want to invest, you must have the determination to work for it and research. No shortcut. Unless you have someone who's a buddy who knows this sit next to you.
Okay, here comes another question, right? So now talk about color base. Then this is a question about the white base. All right. A question from Alec. Can the panelists talk something about the white and blue wares like the sweet pea motif? Who want to start first?
I would let Baba Cho go first because he's also an expert in this area. He has an extensive knowledge and a very nice collection on this part. So I'll let him go first.
Yeah, some people call it Nanyang wear. Maybe Baba Norman.
Ching kitchen, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay,
Norman, over to you.
Thanks. Okay, this blue pea design, actually it is a very, very extensive design marketed throughout Southeast Asia. So it is not strictly Nyonya wear, but considering that the Peranakans have been in this part of the region for many, many years, so they have also acquired these pieces. These are very early wares, blue and white, which are used by Peranakan home way before the existence of the colored female rose pieces. Okay, so these are actually, I wouldn't strictly say that they are Nyonya ware, but they are wares which are used in the Nyonya family. So that's how I take it.
Chi Kuan?
And also to add on, these wares can be found in Thailand, Indonesia, Singapore, not just endemic to Peranakan Chinese. You can find it in Indian homes, Chinese home, Malay. So it's like a daily use utilitarian wear for the Southeast Asians.
Yeah, I remember I visited some countries like Vietnam. I even took some photos of the blue whites, and then I shared among in our Facebook group, to all the members, just to tell that this wear is not just limited to Peranakan in Malaysia.
All right. Okay, now here comes a bit of sensitive questions. Now what are your opinions and experience, if you have, in relation to encountering high-end fake? Right? But sometimes you call it high-end fake. Are they fake? You're not sure. But some people classify, this is very high-end. This is very good item, but fake. So you call it high-end fake. Are you really good enough in identifying it as a high-end fake? Right? So any comment on this?
Okay, my comment first, if you come across a high-end thing, that means a collector, a very senior collector, look at it, also not sure, but eventually determine it as a fake, and it's really good, buy it because it's rarer than the original. Okay? Far in between, fake exists. Of course they exist, but they're rare. Like I'm a master faker, okay? If I'm going to make a fake item, go through the trouble to fly to China, go to Chengdeche, get a master to go and commission and fake a kamching, okay? Which is so good that can even pass my eyes or anybody's eyes, doesn't matter just me, any other eyes, or Wing Ming's fly, whoever, curator's eyes, okay? No, I'm not saying I'm the best expert, there are better people than me. You can pass everybody's eyes. Okay, to go through the effort to Chengdeche to make a kamching and bring it back and sell for $4,000 or $10,000. Not worth his effort, not worth his airfare, not worth anything, okay? So when we talk about perfect fake that can even con Christie's and super high level, these only go to Imperial West because these items worth millions. Nobody is going to go for perfection to a fake, okay, where they sell for $10,000 Singapore. This is crazy, not worth ever take airfare here, go there, wait for the master, okay, the master faker, go see, it's on YouTube, okay, it's on YouTube, I can't remember which channel, Al Jazeera or something like that, okay, it's really stated, a master faker in Chengdeche will make a perfect fake for Christie's and probably pass the auction. He wants a 50% to 35% cut of the hammer price. It's millions, okay, it's millions. So that's my answer to you already, okay. There are fakes, but they are really not very good fakes. One look you can tell, and there are probably reproductions. One or two in the market, which is very, very unusual, which really look good. Is why? They're done by collectors. The collector will take a white piece, the original white bowl, and enamel blue on it, enamel brown. It's his own experiment because he knows the art. He spends enormous hour to make this thing perfect, okay? But he asks you to make commercial and sell, he can't. I'll die. He's one-man show, he's just doing for fun, hobby. So that piece is really, really good, but you still can tell. But it's really almost there. Okay, it made me. I had to actually stop there and look at it for 30 more than 15 minutes. It's very serious, really. Okay, I had to look and dig and scratch my head. What's this? I never seen this before. Okay, and he finally admitted I did it myself. Okay,
have you come across?
Rare. I said, please tell me. This is a good study piece. Okay, there are also, of course, some looking around the antique shop. There are re-enamel, retouch up, using old porcelain, but you can tell. It's not perfect. It's very easy to tell. Trust me. Lim has also seen some of this, I think, right? Master Lim?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen.
Right. Okay. Chi Kuan, the question, right? The question about high-end fake will come along with the questions. What are the challenges faced by new collectors? I think you are the best person to to answer this. And also, the challenge, of course, we'll have to identify also the fake, so-called new or old item. Over to you.
Okay. New collectors often limit themselves in collecting whitewares, because they felt it's safer. Without 100% confidence, new collectors will not take a step to colorwares. Why? Because it's not cheap. So another thing is that I believe that it's their fear to buy fake wares. So for new collectors, I would suggest them you can go through auctions like M&P, because you have curated to check the wares, or you can go through trusted dealers, or even senior collectors. So when it comes about fake wares, first of all, they are able to identify it. So my advice is learn more. Don't rush in buying.
So is provenance also an important aspect? Provenance.
Yeah, of course.
Can it be
Pardon?
provenance? Wow, so strong provenance. This is directly from whose next generation. But does it mean it is genuine?
Yeah. I think about the provenance is more important for the serious senior collectors. So for newbies like me myself, few years ago, okay. So when you buy the color wares, be very careful in identifying them. Don't just buy through the photos. You look at them, feel them, touch them, understand them. So about.
And I would like to add, Chikwan, for newbies, I always believe, and this is how I started, okay, by collecting hundreds of pieces of whiteware first. Okay, all the forms of whiteware, plate, bowl, every single form. Okay, that means you even memorize, so psychotic until you memorize the CM, 14.5 cm, 18.9 cm, 19 cm, 19.5, and 20 cm, 21 and 22 cm for each bowl and plate. It's all fixed one, trust me. Okay, until that level, you collect white pieces. You will know, looking at this piece, oh, Chen Yi Tai, oh, Wang Sheng Shu, oh, whatever, right? You memorize the pattern of the phoenix, the peony, and the symbol from each clean. One look, you know it from which clean already.
Yes,
that level,
correct.
Okay, which I did. I took many years to do that. So one look at that, I tell you this made from which clean. Well, no need to look at mark. I know. Okay. After that, you go to colorware. The colorware will never run your eye because it's the same. The pattern of the art, the phoenix, is the same on the whiteware. You just put a green on top. The phoenix is the same. The artwork is the same. The peony is the same. It's just the white become green. That's it. Okay. Very simple. It's mathematical, methodological, and it's precise, it's detailed, but it's a lot of dedication and a lot of perfection. There's no shortcut. You cannot learn karate one day. Same. Okay?
Yeah, I agree with Master Glenn. Just an example, when you see a phoenix with big jawbone, bolded line,
Chen Yi Tai, big one.
that is Chen Tai.
Chen Yi Tai, yeah, straight away, cannot run away. The blue also will tell you. Chen Yi Tai blue, a vase with 8 Buddhist fingers on the rim, Chen Yi Tai straight away. Only the king does that. Okay?
Yes, true.
Yeah. There are certain characteristics. If you collect whitewares long enough, you apply the colorware methodology, then you'll know it. Then you're okay, you're safe. If you safe. If you say, that's how I started, that's how I do it. Right. You know, I got a lawyer training. I'm a trained lawyer. I go by facts, substantial, okay? Detail and evidence. I don't go hearsay, you fake hearsay. I don't believe.
Yeah.
Facts, research, look at it, understand, compare. That's it, precision. That's the way to go it. And that's what I share with Master Lim. And that's what Master Cho also last time, we go away many years back. We have different methodology. But I always tell Master Cho, you are very spiritual when it comes to collecting because you are true Baba. Okay, you go by feel, you go by emotion, you go by culture, and your love for your heritage. For me, I cut away all these things. I go by scientific looking, detail, comparison, facts. Collecting of facts, collecting of phoenix's head and compare. So it's a different kind of methodology.
It's a very great session, as you can see the panelists sharing all this very straightforward answers and insight and true sharing. Of course, especially from my questions that we want the audience to actually have as much as information as possible, right, from the panelists. So I hope that the audience don't feel that it is a slap on their face, or it is waking them up or shaking their head. Don't feel in that manner, because we are sharing our point of view to the overall position of the industry. Now, before I go over to a few questions for Baba Norman, I have this question for our newbie, special highlight to our newbie, now avid already, yeah? So, as a relatively new collector, it's only within this four wall, but you're going outside, you're still at the top, So, how to, from a new collector perspective, what actually drew you into the world of Nyonya Ware? And how? Is it because of durian? Cannot be, right?
Partly. Okay.
Partly.
Okay, let me explain.
Yeah, give a very good your experience to give more courage for the new collectors to come in and join this big group.
Actually, I was heritage with few pieces of Nyonya ware for my grandmother. She's a Nyonya. One day, Master Glenn came to Ipoh for durian and fishing trip. And then he saw a few pieces of Nyonya wares in my cabinet. Then he asked me, Lim, do you know what is this? Then I replied, these are porcelains from my grandmother, and I don't know anything about it. Then we go fishing. And slowly he explained about Nyonya wares to me. The next stop is I visited him in JB. Worst of all, he introduced Master Lokman to me, and we go for auctions. Then from there onwards, I'm seriously, I would say, addicted in Nyonya wares. And then I remember the first item I got from auction is a 9-inch white plate from M&B. From there, I start collecting. To me, it's the passion for art, culture, and also friendship. With the friendship, I can call it kamching. So we do not just merely collect kamching, but also the kamching on relationships. That's how I go into your lesson.
Very meaningful collector's life, making friendship, and in fact from there also you learn from each other, because it's always lonely if you don't have a group of people, right, to get to share knowledge and also other hobbies, and in fact your journey of collection will become very meaningful, and then it can go a long way, right? Okay, my next question is to Baba Norman. Why do you collect antique Peranakan heritage objects?
Okay, first of all, I collect because, as Glenn just now explained, that it's part of my culture. So I enjoy to learn more about the culture, and hopefully I can preserve the culture, because increasingly over the years, many of these pieces are disappearing because the young people, they do not understand, they do not appreciate, then they discard pieces which hasn't even gone through any studying, any research. So part of the collection is for the purpose of research. So I collect to research and also to preserve and explain the significance of the pieces to the next generation. So that is the main reason why I'm collecting.
So is this the reason that inspired you to write a book about Peranakan jewelry, or because you have too much of jewelry?
Yes, because
compared to porcelain?
I find that this is a subject which is lacking. I've seen many porcelain books on Nyonya porcelain, but very few on Nyonya jewelry. So I thought that since I have collected over 30 years, I got quite an extensive collection, about 300 over pieces. So I can talk about the story and the history of individual pieces and explain, how it came about, how it's made, or how it's used in the past. And it's all compiled in my book, which covers 220 pages. Maybe I can just show you how the book looks like. Okay, soft cover. This is the hardcover, and it's all in full color. Full color. Yeah.
Very, very nice. I bought one myself.
So I think it's my contribution to the community by writing the book so that it can document pieces of jewelry, because jewelry is something which is
Book, I bought it.
yeah, thanks. Thank you.
Well,
So I think that
on,
jewelry is something which is not very well promoted. So hopefully by writing the book, more people can understand Peranakan jewelry. And hopefully maybe your auction, you can even carry some pieces of Peranakan jewelry in future.
Now, Baba Norman, just now you shared a brooch, right?
Yes.
Yeah, during some of the some explanation. Now, can you just explain in a simple term what is Peranakan jewelry?
Okay, Peranakan jewelry are jewelry which are used by the Peranakan. Origin of these pieces originated from this part of the world. Most of the jewelry are similar to what the Malays would have worn. Things like kerongsangs, hairpins, things like bangle, anklets. However, certain designs, distinguish a strictly Peranakan piece. For example, the one which I showed, which is actually the Buddha's finger citrine.
Yeah.
This is what they call the fossil. In Chinese, fossil is Buddha's finger fruit. So this is very Chinese. Then they also have very European design, like you can see here, is actually sparrows and butterfly. This is also a set of dosan. Okay, these are very typically Peranakan design.
Okay.
So the book will explain more. Yeah.
Same questions, similar questions, porcelain. What is the misconception about Peranakan jewelry? And actually, how to identify? To porcelain, probably we can see from the many aspects to authenticate an item. But for jewelry, almost all the same to us. So
yeah, so that's why you have to look at the design. If the design are very Chinese, you have like deer, you have like design like bamboo. These are very Peranakan design. Then again, they also like European design. Like I have in my collection a flying horse, which is very European. So that is also Peranakan inspired design.
So what's the common perception about?
Okay, a lot of people thought that Peranakan, because they wear this jewelry, is intan jewelry. Intan are actually rose cut diamond. They thought that the general rose cut diamond, which we find nowadays in shops, they are the later period, which the quality is actually very not as good as the old one. The old one, the intans or the rose cut diamonds are actually bigger, it's more well made, and it's thicker. So a lot of people, when they say intan jewelry, they have the idea that, oh, it's some inferior jewelry, but Peranakan jewelry is not as inferior as that.
All right, very interesting
Yeah.
sharing. Because I never have had the chance to know more about the Peranakan jewelry. By the way, now Glenn, you have the book, but both of you are in Singapore. How to get in Malaysia? Please promote to us, as many audiences want to know how to get the book.
Okay, currently the book is on sale in Kinokuniya, Singapore. You can place online orders for the book. They will send over, or you can even write in to San Francis Enterprise, and they can also ship over to you.
So if I screenshot this live streaming, can I get a cheaper price? I tell them, Baba Norman is my friend. I just
Yeah. You come and look for me direct.
No, I'm just joking. All right. We are almost coming to the end of today's this talk. There's
Just want to quickly add, Mr. Sun.
Sorry.
One member asked about coral rate right now. Coral rate.
Oh yeah.
Okay. This is a book which I contributed to, and this coral rate wares are my contribution to the book now. Okay. So coral rate wares. This is what is coral rate wares. Mostly kamcheng chupus. Right?
Correlate where with the Peranakan style. Can I say this? All right. So, okay, we have this question here before we end. Hopefully, any other question from the audience, please submit now, so that we can our specialists can give their insight before we end the session. Now, this question from Andrew Tay. Other than porcelain and jewelry, how about the wooden carving like Peranakan Chap Na or Dui Lian? You know the how to call it Dui Lian. Are they desirable and good investment? We know that there's also the wooden stuff for Peranakan. Maybe we can talk. You can share a bit of the wooden stuff. Is wooden stuff good for investment?
Actually, I would think that anything Peranakan is good to invest, because I myself, I collect a fair bit of wooden stuff as well as silverware as well. Okay, I can show you maybe an example. This is actually a Sireh set, Bitona.
Oh, Sireh
Okay.
box. Okay.
It consists of all the containers of silver. So all these things are actually very collectible, because there are so few of them that not many people know, that they exist. So these are the things which, the box is even, the wooden box is also a very old one from Palembang. So they are very good collectible.
Okay. So I hope we have answered some of the question from the audience.
I want to add in a point there.
Yes, please.
As a non-Peranakan, purely on an investment logic, okay, I would say why porcelain is better than furniture and wooden stuff is because porcelain break every day. You'll get less and less. Run. Okay?
Rarity,
How about Singapore market?
rarity, yeah.
Okay, how about Singapore market? 75% of even middle income, or maybe slightly above average middle income, all live in apartments or HDB. We have no space for furniture. Okay? We have no space for big opium set I put there. Not possible. So we buy what? Porcelain. Small, easy to keep, and can put in an apartment. Okay? Jewelry, yes, same thing. Small, easy to keep, put inside a drawer. So collection is one thing. Investment, you got to use logic. Logic. Okay? Porcelain break every day, getting less and less. Okay? Jewelry, not so much breakage. Okay? Furniture, also not so much break, and also space constraint. Not everybody lives in a house like Master Lim in a mansion in Perak, because if that piece of land bring to Singapore, only the probably the top 0.1% of Singapore can afford a house. So yeah, we just go by logic. Okay, that's the answer I can give you.
So right, any final sharings from the fellow panelists before we end the session?
I would like to show a piece of the Norway that
Yes, please.
caught Master Glenn caught his eye when he visited my house
first
for the first
question
time.
to you always when you show this, right? I'll ask you how much you want to sell.
No, I cycle.
PM, please. PM.
I cycle is here.
This is from my grandmother. According to her, it comes with a set of teapot and teacups and all. But this is
The whole fishing trip I try to cycle, you sell me, you don't wanna. You see, you're not interested in the history, you sell me.
So this is a typical lime green tea tray from Penang. It comes with Buddhist emblems, banner, and a phoenix. And most of all, there's no mark behind.
So
No
this
grace,
is also
no
the
mark.
strong provenance, right? This from your grandma, isn't it?
It's from my ancestor.
Yeah, ancestor. So it's a very strong provenance. So especially from Lin Chi Guan, the value is more high than a normal item.
And I cannot sell it.
All right. Yeah, Baba Norman, any final sharing before we end the session for today?
Okay, maybe I show you an example of how the dragon plate will look like. I have one example here.
Yeah. Oh,
Sell,
dragon.
sell.
Dragon.
So that is a typical Peranakan offering dish dragon design.
I
It
almost,
came with right?
yeah. I almost pengsan look at it.
The auction can start now.
You can bid. Can bid among the forwards. Right. So okay. Once again, thank you, the panelists, for your contribution today. We have heard a lot of insight and a very straightforward point. At the end of the day, we wanted this industry and to be healthy and continue to be prosperous. So that's a reason why we actually organized this talk. And then I want to thank for the panelists. You're all the sky high level of people that you are still accepting our invitation to become the panelists. I thank all of you very much. And then I have the a letter of appreciation along coming the way to you. After this, I'll be sending out to Singapore and to Ipoh. Thank you again. This is a recognition of your contribution and support. So we are all doing what we can for this industry to collect as well as investing in Straits Chinese heritage. We want the heritage to be there. As some of you shared, that it is actually very, very true that it's very unique, right? And then it cannot be reproduced, right? And then like what Glenn said, it can be easily broken, right? So all these things are only getting less and less and less. So we want to preserve the heritage. That's why we are doing what we are today. So a bit of commercial. Tomorrow is the auction, right? It's still not too late to register today. And bid for a love item. It is always, whether it's a spare cash or not, it is always good to invest and collect the Peranakan item. And once again, I want to thank all the audience. Please accept any shortcoming, technical problem of the talk today. We apologize, and we hope to improve from the next talk. And you can always tell us and share with us what we can include in the topic in the next sharing and talk. And thank you once again for the audience and collectors.
Master Sun, I just want to add to let all the audience also understand that, Master Cho, me, and Master Lim ourselves, we are here fully on a voluntary basis. We are not paid. Okay? Make it very clear. Okay? My contribution to MMP over the years as curator, I'm not being paid a single cent. I do not benefit. In fact, I spend a lot of money buying things from them still. Okay? So there is no conflict of interest. Because the market will say that I'm promoting MMP because they pay me a lot of money, but they are just being an honest dealer. I'm not being paid. I'm doing this fully for passion. Okay?
Yes.
Just want to make it very clear,
I can go to the police station.
Sometimes it's a bit frustrating for me because MMP paid you to say this.
No, I can give you the statement. No money.
MMP did not pay me to say anything. Okay?
Because
I say because
run away,
I genuinely feel it's this way. It should be said. That's it.
We are all the promoter of Peranakan heritage. I respect every one of you, right? For giving me the privilege to come to have today's talk all together. So I'm sure that the audiences will be benefited here and there from all the sharing. Thank you once again. I hope.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chi Guan.
Okay.
Now
Thank you.
become probationary senior collector.
Senior newbie.
Right? And curator come a special collector. And Baba Norman Chor, the writer and author and researcher for Peranakan culture. Please keep going, keep doing what you believe is right for the Peranakan heritage. Thank you once again, gentlemen.
Thanks.
And we'd like to say bye-bye to all of you and also to our audience. Thank you. and see you again.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.